Boy, what a week of college football. And we'll start off right now with some breaking news to share with you. The LSU Tigers and Florida Gators game has been postponed. Now, interestingly, and I'll get into this a little bit later on, after losing to Texas A&M, Florida Gators head coach Dan Mullen requested there be fans at the Swamp for home field advantage. Today, SEC announced the game's been postponed due to 19 people testing positive over the past couple of days. Two Florida assistants were among those who tested positive. Not what you're looking for. Missouri and Vanderbilt also has been announced as being postponed due to COVID-19. Now, by the way, LSU quarterback Miles Brennan probably wasn't going to play after getting banged up so much against Missouri. So, pretty crazy week. Off to a weird start. Ovi Munez, Jace Garcia, and Sean Scanlon. A crazy week so far. And some seriously amazing matchups this week. So we're all super excited for that. But the top 25, boy, just an absolute highlight reel this past week.
Hello, Joe.
What's going on, man?
Sorry, there's been a delay, man, but let's say your last message again, man.
I said top 25, and we have some seriously huge matchups. I think Alabama, Georgia is probably the huge game everybody's looking at this week. It looks like we have some problems, though, in Alabama as well.
Yes.
That game, though, is still scheduled as far as we're all concerned, though.
So the breaking news is Nick Saban tested positive for COVID-19 along with the athletic director. The teams are all getting tested as we speak, but no details furthermore of any results. We're hoping that the game will continue. I know the offensive coordinator for Alabama, who was a former coach for Washington and USC, is preparing the team for the game. So we're just hoping that everything turns out to be all right, and we hope that Nick Saban's okay. He did say he doesn't feel any symptoms, but you can never know what could happen in the future. So
sure, that's almost what makes it worse. Is and you say he's an advocate of wearing masks at all times when you don't know that you have it, though, and you're not exhibiting symptoms, which is something we see with this disease constantly. Anytime that mask is off,
absolutely.
the possibility of you passing that along is certainly a possibility. So that's some rough news for Alabama. That game, boy, that was the game I'm most looking forward to this weekend, Obi. That's boy.
Cross your fingers, man. Cross your fingers, because I'm still hoping. I mean, I believe it's tight between Georgia and Alabama, and especially what happened last week. Bama, like that game with Ole Miss, it was just nothing but mad points. It was a shootout, no defense. And then you got Georgia, who performed so well in the second half against Tennessee. For them two to match up, I mean, this is the game that's going to determine who's going to be on top in the rankings. And probably the winner of this game could be number one on the rankings atop of Clemson.
Oh, certainly. Although Clemson has a pretty easy matchup, it seems, this week with Georgia Tech. But you never know. I mean, if it's not an impressive enough performance.
Georgia Tech.
Oh, excuse me, Jace?
First of all, where'd you even come from? And second of all, why would you come in guns blazing talking about Georgia Tech like that?
Because they're not good. I don't know why Ovi had him at number 7 in the nation at one point.
Hey, man, that was at week 1. Stop it already.
Oh, okay. They're not a good football team.
Oh, they're a good football team.
Not a good
football. I mean, they might not be good, but somebody rated them 7th at one point this year. So
yeah.
Hey, can you forgive me? I mean, damn.
I don't
people
even think
do make mistakes.
Georgia Tech would he ever put them at 7?
I think he would.
Hey, they just got a big win against Louisville, so
Jace doesn't care. Jace doesn't care. Doesn't matter. They're just
the ACC is Clemson and everyone else.
Jace thinks that BYU should be better than Notre Dame. That's what he's saying.
I mean,
I'm
not wrong.
You are wrong.
I don't like Texas A&M being ranked so high.
What? Why?
They just beat Florida.
Mostly because Jace is wearing an Aggie shirt, but we'll get into it.
Hey, this is different, Aggies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a team that hasn't played and probably won't even see any rankings this season.
Yeah, because they lost their best quarterback to the Packers. But what you guys were talking about with Nick Saban, this is breaking news. I wouldn't be surprised if the game gets postponed. They're still testing players. I don't see Nick Saban being a yell at you from afar coach. I see him as getting up in your face if you do something wrong and yelling at you in practice. And I don't think that's really social distancing. So I wouldn't be surprised if some players on the Alabama team also test positive. And I hate to say it, but I don't know if we see this game this weekend.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm crossing my fingers. I hope that it does happen.
Oh, I am too.
But I mean, safety precautions, of course, is always number one, especially not only for the players but everybody else that supports and broadcasting these games. So whatever decisions they make, hopefully they'll postpone it to a good date, maybe just before the SEC championship. Maybe they don't even have to play each other, to be honest with you, because they're going to see each other in the SEC championship in Atlanta.
Oh, you think so?
I almost wonder if it's not a bad idea to postpone this game, even if you move it to later in the season, and maybe again you have an undefeated matchups of two. Obviously, they'd still be in the same spot in the rankings if that were the case, assuming Clemson stays undefeated.
I still think that if they do postpone it, it'll help Alabama because their defense, I don't know what's going on with them. This is not the Alabama that I know of for the last 4 or 5 years. So for them to stinking it up against Ole Miss, or unless Kiffin is a genius and he has been an assistant with Alabama before, maybe he knew the system and took advantage of it. Who knows? But
don't use Kiffin and genius in the same sense. This is a guy that tried a 76-yard field goal when he was coaching for the Raiders. Don't give me that crap, Ovi.
Well, that's
NFL.
NFL.
His kicker's a mule. Why not?
76 yards?
And yet he is coaching in the SEC.
Against the wind?
Did he get it in practice?
No. I don't even think a robot couldn't even kick that far.
Well, you need to build a better robot, sounds like.
I'm not no robo engineer.
You better not be. You're limiting yourself. 75 yards tops. Can't go beyond that. Need a flux capacitor. I'm just saying. Look, he's an innovative coach. And yeah, Ovi, there's certainly an element of he knew what he was going up against. Mississippi State isn't a good football team, but they're not a slouch. So I think it's easy for Jace to dismiss everybody that's not BYU, but the reality is Alabama's going to be fine. Hopefully they're able to play this game, and if not, I do think it would be fine for Alabama to take a week off, take a deep breath, and start anew when everything gets back to normal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another team that's actually going to benefit is LSU. LSU, Florida, like you said before, postponed. But LSU's quarterback, Miles Brennan, was doubtful to play this weekend because he was banged up. And he needs some rest to recover for all the beating they received last weekend.
What a sad state for Miles Brennan. I mean, pathetic. That's a starting quarterback. I don't know. There's just something about that doesn't sit right with me at all.
Hey, they don't make them as tough as they used to, but
no, I mean, come on. He's a little banged up. Yeah, it's called the season. What are you talking about? You should be sore from September to January. Then you have the rest of the year to not be sore, Miles Brennan. Your team stinks. You're playing one of the top teams in the country. You're lucky that game got postponed, you big crybaby. Are you guys kidding me? Why is anybody defending that?
No one's offending it. LSU's trash. They aren't LSU.
I just said that he
Everybody
is
looked
lucky.
all shocked when I said it. Like, oh, don't talk about Miles Brennan like that. I'm sorry. I have to question that. He was doubtful to play. Are you kidding me?
Miles Brennan's just like Zach Wilson.
What?
I knew I was going to stir something up.
Does nobody else have an issue with this? I mean, what's banged up mean?
Who knows? I mean, it's not like in the NFL that we get good inside scoop of what's going on within the team. So what is the definition of being banged up? And
Sean, help me out here. What like how banged up are you that you're missing like a game against the number 10th ranked team in the country? What?
Yeah, I mean, that might just be an excuse for we're playing terrible after being the national champions, and I don't want to go out there and get beat by 40. I think that may have a part to do with it. But if he really is banged up, then I'm not sure. I would probably just try my best to get out there on the field to, try and even put up a fight against Florida because they're obviously one of the better teams in the SEC. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think LSU really has any chance. Obviously, they've lost so much from the NFL last year. We saw in the first week against Mississippi State, their defense was terrible, and then last week against Missouri too. So it's looking rough for LSU. So I think that's probably why he's deciding to sit out this week.
I would just like to point out that a few weeks ago, Jace said that Mac Jones was garbage and that Miles Brennan would be a better quarterback. And I'm just curious.
When did I say that? I never.
I am going to.
Brennan would
you
be
need
a
to
better
pull the tapes.
Quarterback.
You said he was a better quarterback in the SEC. That's exactly what you said. I could pull the tapes.
All right. Well,
I'll make a documentary about it if you want. I mean, I could do it.
I think Mac Jones, Miles
Apologize
Brennan,
about what
Kyle
you said about
Trask.
Mac Jones.
I'm not gonna. I don't think
Take
he's
your
a better
back.
quarterback, but I think they are on the same level. They are game managers. They're nothing special.
You think he's a game manager? Have you looked at any of
the weapons he has? He has 2 first-round wide receivers he's throwing to, and a possible Heisman candidate running back he's handing the ball off to. He's going to look good. He's in a system that works.
If you were a bad quarterback and you had weapons around you and you weren't a good player, you would be exposed. Instead, he's been himself a Heisman candidate. What are you talking about? When you shaved off your mustache and beard, did you lose all sense of reality? Or, what's going on with you?
I'm not sold on Mac Jones. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you will be after he destroys Georgia.
Wait. Hold on for a second. No. I don't think so. With that defense and that front four of Georgia, I don't think he's going to destroy anybody.
You got
As a matter of fact, he is going to be getting destroyed when he's eating that grass or turf when he goes down to Georgia. I'm going to tell you, them Bulldogs going to run all over him.
He's a gamer, though. He's a gamer. He'll survive it. And you know what? Unlike Miles Brennan, he'll definitely be in the lineup the next week.
This is the perfect game. If this game does happen, this is a perfect game. I will eat my words next week if they pull off the win against Georgia, because this is the first real test.
Well, it should be a double serving then. Double serving of your words.
We will see. He has all these weapons against the B list.
How about a pie
of
in the
SEC.
face instead?
I like that. I like that. Is that a bet?
Sure, I guess. I will get a pie and I'll put it in my face. But
no, I think Joe wanted to visit you and do it.
Yeah, I'll just knock on the door. You open the door. I hit you with a pie, and I walk away. No words spoken.
Yeah, social distance. You got to throw it from 6 feet away.
Yeah. I'll wear a mask. Don't you worry about it. I'll put it at the end of a mop, and I'll just smack you in the face with it and walk off.
No, listen, my real problem with Mac Jones, if you look at when he came in for Tua last year, and obviously he hasn't played anyone the A list in the SEC this year. Whenever he goes up against those tough teams, he struggles. You look at Auburn last year. And then, it just does not work. He doesn't
So
have
his
that
first
clutch
time in the starting lineup is against Auburn, and he struggles, and you have a problem with that. A guy who got no
thought he
first
did
Auburn
decent.
wasn't great. Auburn wasn't great last year. He could not lead them to win.
It's Auburn. Give me a
And-
break.
And he still
Auburn's
had Devontae
Auburn.
Smith.
You know
He
this.
still had Jalen Waddle. He also had Henry Ruggs, and he also had Jerry Judy. And he
Auburn-
couldn't get it done.
Auburn's defense was a lot better last year, though, than it is now.
Yeah, and you could argue that and he also had Jedrick Wills blocking for him. You
What's
could
your
argue that
point?
Alabama's offense
What's
was
your
better.
point? Now that he's got more experience and he's lost some of those guys, look what they're doing. They're
I'm
fine. It's a good
I
quarterback.
tell you, if he can get a win like this against
I wouldn't-
Georgia, I will eat my words.
I wouldn't compare Bama and Auburn right now, and I'm going to take you guys to the highlights of the top 25 that happened this week, give you the update scores, and you guys can see for yourself what happened this past Saturday, especially the Auburn game. So check it out.
Athletic family, his parents tennis players, dad played professional tennis. Gordon, here's Najee Harris, inside the 5, inside the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama.
And Nix will just clock it. Now, he dribbled the snap, picked it up, and then spiked it.
Etienne gets the edge again. And Etienne takes on the sidelines. Did he step out? He's still running all the way to the end zone. Travis Etienne
Has been a non-factor today. Set negative factor. Bennett down the middle. Complete. It's a touchdown of Pierre Jackson. Here they come. Garantano, look out from behind. Down he goes. The ball is out. Monty Rice giving chase. Rice has got it. He's going to score. Touchdown, Georgia.
First and 25. Michael Carter. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A house call on first and 25. And respectively, downfield blocking as well. Tyree inside. Give big run. Tyree with speed. Gone. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
25. Rattler again to throw it. Steps up in the pocket. Throws in the run. Bellinger lines up. And that's your ball game. Trey Brown. And that'll be the story of this game for Oklahoma. The Oklahoma defense forcing turnovers like never before.
I love the ending right there, man. Them Texas fans were so pissed off.
Yeah.
But, hey, looking at that Auburn game, you see Bo Nix. That game, Auburn should have lost. The head official of NCAA did state that that was a backward pass, that was a fumble, and Arkansas should have recovered that ball, and the game should have been over. So Auburn just got lucky, all right? But you want to compare about quarterbacks, Bo Nix was not really believing in himself, and there you go right there. And especially about quarterbacks, you know, let's move over to the Heisman race right here. This is voted by the All Four Downs podcast, the people here with Big J, Sean, and Joe. Calculating everything else, Trevor Lawrence leads the way, winning, favored to win the Heisman this year. And second comes Mac Jones. So what's your take on that, Joe?
Mac Jones has certainly put up the numbers. He has, if you look at his numbers on the year, and look, I mean, he's got a lot of competition ahead. He's got his work cut out for him. He's competing against several of his own teammates, including Najee Harris and Jalen Waddle. He's going to be facing a lot of these guys during the course of the season. that are on this list as well. But I mean, right now, to me, look, this is clearly Trevor Lawrence's award to lose. If Mac Jones can get Alabama at number 1 and keep him there, and say Harris or Waddle doesn't really separate himself from the pack as far as other running backs or receivers, no reason why Mac Jones can't take that bad boy home.
I did not. I'll tell you right now. We sent Ovi a top 5. I did not have Mac Jones on my list. I think the fact
I didn't have Zach Wilson on mine.
That's ridiculous. Zach Wilson's throwing to Gunnar Romney. Mac Jones is throwing to Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. And I think the fact that Stetson Bennett is so low is ridiculous. This dude was the 4th string QB in the preseason on his team. He was thrusted into it, and they have beat 2 ranked teams now in Auburn and Tennessee. This kid is – I like JT Daniels a lot, and I want Georgia to give him a shot, but this kid is performing, and he's making key throws when they need to get made, and he's running the offense pretty damn well. And they showed beating 2 top 10 teams in Auburn and Tennessee. They were both top 10 when they faced them. So I think the fact that Stetson Bennett is so low is underrated really, really bad. I do like the fact that Chuba Hubbard's up there. This dude was criminally underrated last year. He put up mad numbers, and no one gave him the respect. So I like that. But, yeah, I'm not sold on Mac Jones.
I think Mac Jones is. I think I would have him right behind Trevor Lawrence. I think I would agree with that. I think I wouldn't have Kyle Trask that low. I wouldn't fall asleep on him just yet. Obviously they lost a game to Texas A&M, but their defense didn't play that great, and he's still putting up really good numbers. He's got a lot of weapons, obviously, with Kyle Pitts and the other receivers that they have there. So I wouldn't fall asleep on him yet. And then Jace mentioned Chuba Hubbard, but I think Travis Etienne, obviously, and then Najee Harris are both 2 running backs that are having great years. I think that they'll definitely have a shot to be the number 1 running back on the list, even though it will be competitive. And then Shane Buechele, I think he's having a great year for SMU. They're a really underrated team, and I like the way that he's been performing so far. So I had him in my top 5 as well. And for
Jace, real quick, Jace,
yeah,
just if I could, Sean, just because again, I know he likes to talk crap about Mac Jones, number 2 in the nation in passing yards, and he's got the number 1 QBR rating. So we'll put that in your pie.
Yeah,
well, you stole my thunder there because that was my argument. Thanks, Joe. I have Mac Jones as number 1 right now at this moment in time. Mac Jones is Mac Jones, like that song, Mike Jones. You remember that? I remember that. But Jones could pull an upset and win the Heisman if he keeps up the way he's doing. All right. As far as Stetson Bennett, yeah, he is playing well, but that offense is well balanced. It's not only just him; it's a combination of everybody. His stats is not up there compared to Mac Jones. Now, could he be voted in or be participant in the Heisman?
That's because he doesn't have the weapons Mac Jones has.
But it doesn't matter. The thing is, they're executing. No matter how they're doing it, they're still winning.
And he's also playing tougher opponents.
Jace, look, here's the thing, okay? Don't be an apologist. You got to, listen, if you've got the best guys around you and you're 4-0 and you're heading into a showdown with the number 3 team, and then you put the spank on them and you move on, I mean, what do you need? Is that what you're looking for? It's about to happen. So let it happen and then evaluate it afterwards. The guy's getting the job done in a big way. You could say, oh, it's the guys around him. Was it the guys around Tua that made Tua so good? Come on. Stop saying that. You got to make do with what you have. If you're not a good quarterback and you have great weapons around you and you can't utilize them, you would be exposed really quickly. Instead, Mac Jones has sailed to the top of the pack, Jace. It's okay to be wrong, I swear.
He doesn't just have good weapons around him. He's got a great O-line, too. He's never getting challenged. He's never getting challenged. And you make do with what you have. Look at what Zach Wilson's doing. Look at what Shane Buechele's doing. They don't have any first-rounders on their offense.
Make them first-rounders.
It's all about
These
building.
guys were first rounders before Mac Jones showed up. They were first rounders with Tua.
Okay, so let's put it this way. Hold on,
What
Joe.
is
Hold
your
on.
point? He's having a great season with great players around him because he's a great player. Boo him. What are you talking about?
I need to see this. I need to see him against adversity because every
That's
time
the
he's
plan.
gone against adversity, he hasn't shown up. He hasn't gotten the win.
He's rarely seen adversity, and here's his chance as the big man on campus. I think the guy's up for the job. He's got the name for it and everything. I think he's going to be all right. I believe in Mac Jones.
I do not.
Well, okay, let me ask you this.
Based on one game last year when he was a backup? Like, dude, what? You can't be serious.
You're picking Zach Wilson over Mac Jones?
Yes.
But Zach Wilson has never played any competition whatsoever.
This isn't pick your favorite player. This is pick the better guy. Give me a break. It's the Heisman Trophy.
Who is leading their team?
It's not Jace's fantasy land.
Who is it's Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. They are leading the offense for
Go to
Alabama.
NCAA.com and click on the numbers. Click on each of the sortable categories. You're going to see Mac Jones at the top of most of them. So
well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Two phenomenal wide receivers.
But you won't see Najee Harris at the top. He's down around 7th, and you won't see Waddle at the top either.
Yeah, not too.
So what are you saying? How come they're not having breakout years?
Because he's got a pick of the litter. He's got a pick of a litter. If I can eat a cake and a pie,
he's done a nice job of utilizing all of his weapons like a superstar quarterback does. You look at a guy like Tom Brady. Tom Brady doesn't hit the same guy 9 times in a game. He hits like 10 guys 4 times each. Utilize the weapons. Learn how to do checkdowns. Go to the third receiver on a play. Mac Jones knows what he's doing, Jace. He's got a Ferrari, and he knows how to drive it.
Wow, that's pretty good right there.
It's nice. It's nice and fun to drive a Ferrari on a wide open street, but what happens when there's a little bit of traffic?
It's not a wide open street. It's the SEC, dude. Give it a rest. Give it a rest.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
And he needs to
get
wins at that upper echelon in the SEC for me to respect him.
We do gotta move on. We do gotta move on.
You see the pie coming, right? You see the pie?
Yeah.
I eat my humble pie next week if that happens.
I get Jace's argument, but I mean, even if you have the best receivers in the nation, you still need someone to hit them. And I don't think you could take away. I don't think that's something you should take away just because he has good receivers to throw to. That you don't think his numbers are as impressive as they are. I think you still have to evaluate him, even if he's got the best weapons around him. Someone still needs to deliver the ball, and I think that's why Mac Jones. I wouldn't have him number 1 right now in Heisman, but I definitely have him in my top 3.
Well, here's what's going on top right now is that Clemson is still leading in the rankings, not only just in our rankings, but as well as the AP polls as well. Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame. Again, there's been a lot of shift in the top 25. A lot of top teams are losing. So there we have it, Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame. I still feel like, in a sense, Notre Dame is kind of overrated right now. But we know they have Clemson in their schedule, so I can't wait for them to match up. North Carolina is also picking up. Questionable for them to be at number 5. And again, I mean, a lot of things can happen. And then next week, the Big Ten will start their season.
Yes, sir.
So I'm kind of excited for that. And let's see if Ohio State could live up to the hype, which everyone is claiming that Ohio State will be in the national championship. Here's the rest of the top 25.
I have a real beef, by the way, with A&M being in the top 10.
Why?
There's too many good teams who are either undefeated or just haven't played yet that are better than Texas A&M for sure.
Who has a better win on the whole season than Texas A&M beating Florida?
That's why I couldn't drop them out of the top 10.
And also their only loss is to Alabama.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
They're going to lose 3 games this year, and we're going to laugh at the idea that they were ever in the top 10.
Well, I mean, probably because they play a very tough schedule, but I mean, they're still competitive. In
My!
most of these games.
It's why is it excuses for the also
No, I'm just
ran,
saying-
but not for the big boys? I don't get it.
No,
They
I'm
have
just
the
saying.
singular best win.
Oh no,
of the
Sean was
season,
talking.
so that's why
Let
they're top 10.
Sean complete that thought. I'd love to hear it.
I agree that A&M is a tier underneath all these SEC teams, but their asks are a very tough schedule every year. They have to play Florida, LSU, Alabama, all these other teams that are at the top of the nation, and obviously they give them a good competitive fight most of the time, except when they play Alabama. They usually don't show up for those, but still, it's a tough ask. That's probably why they'll end up losing 3 games because they have to play 5 of the top 25 teams in the nation. But I still think A&M deserves to be in the top 10. I think that Florida deserves to be in the top 10 still, even after a rough loss, too.
Well, I'm a little suspect on Florida's defense as well, but we're going to have to wait 3 weeks from now to see when they go face my Georgia Bulldogs to see if they really deserve to be in the top 10. But I also question Oklahoma, who's still peaking at number 24. They actually beat Texas.
How are they there?
But
I dropped Oklahoma out of my top 25.
they still hanging in there.
So
But then
Me
Iowa
too.
State or Coastal Carolina, I mean,
Obi
these
must have had them
guys
at 10 if they were able to stay in the poll.
yeah, number 8.
absolutely not. But anyways, we're moving on. But there's some of these teams that are a little spectacle right now, and when the Big Ten comes and start playing, you're gonna see more of the Big Ten moving up in the rankings.
Yeah, this week is the debut of Penn State and Wisconsin on our rankings.
Absolutely, absolutely. But hey, it is time to make our picks, ladies and gentlemen. Time to review Week 7 games. And yes, I got to gloat a little bit because finally somebody stopped Jace. Okay, Jace has been winning, I think, 4 straight weeks.
And he hasn't stopped talking about it.
Well, definitely he came up short this week. He only had 4 wins, but myself, I went 8-6. Key games that helped me out was Georgia over Tennessee, Oklahoma over Texas. That was in the over 4 overtimes. And then the wild card, Duke beat Syracuse. I went over on points and picked Duke to win. So congratulations to myself. Patting in the back. Yes, indeed. But hey, here we go. Straight picks. No points whatsoever. We'll start with Joe, Jace, and Sean. Joe, who you got for SMU versus Tulane?
Oh, SMU. I love SMU. I think I had them as my number ranked 10th ranked team in the country, and I think this is a really good football team. They're going to trounce Tulane.
It might surprise you, Joe. I had Shane Buechele over Zach Wilson in my Heisman rankings.
I appreciate that.
I think SMU will get the dub here. I'm pretty sure Tulane beat them last year. I think they're going to get some redemption. SMU continue to stay undefeated.
I agree. The SMU offense is very prolific. I'm sure they're going to score a bunch of points. And Shane Buechele, you guys said it, but I also had him in my top 5. I think he's playing tremendous right now. So I think they're going to put up a whole bunch of points on Tulane and get the big W.
Right, I agree. SMU winning this game. Moving on to BYU versus Houston. I got BYU and a straight up pick. How about you, Joe?
Oh yeah, BYU. I mean, they're a very good football team. Not a great week last week, but I think they get back on track with a huge win this week.
Yeah, I mean, UTSA is not a bad football team. Wasn't great for BYU. The Battle of the Cougars here, I think Cosmo the Cougar for BYU comes out on top. BYU all the way, baby.
I'll also go with BYU, even though I think it will be a pretty good game. Houston, they had a good week after not playing the first couple of weeks due to all the COVID cases, but they finally got a game and they got a W on the board. So I think that it will be a good game, but I think that BYU will pull it out probably late in the fourth quarter.
All right, Georgia State at Arkansas State. I I just gave it to the home team on this one. I think Arkansas State will pull it off slightly over Georgia State. I know Georgia State is a great team. They show progress for compared to a year ago. But this is at home at Arkansas State, and they play very well at home. And these two teams do have history with one another. Yes, Joe. You speechless?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Arkansas State will defeat Georgia State.
There's something about that Georgia State mascot that no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Arkansas State should win this one. They better at home.
Arkansas State has that one win against Kansas State, and then they beat Central Arkansas. I don't think Georgia State isn't that great of a team either, but I'm gonna go Georgia State here. I'm gonna go the upset here.
I agree. I'm gonna go with Jace. The Georgia State gave Louisiana a good fight. The first week they worked East Carolina last week, so I think they're a team heading in the right direction. I think it will be a pretty good game, but I'll take Georgia State probably by a touchdown.
All right, we got Marshall at Louisiana Tech. This one, man, it was difficult. I had a hard time picking and choosing on this one, but then I have to go on default mode, and I'm gonna go with Marshall. I think they're having one hell of a season. It's about time. They're no disrespect to Louisiana Tech. I know they're in first place in their division, but this is a good head-to-head matchup. And we could probably see these two teams fighting off for their conference championship later down the road. But I'm slightly over Marshall here. Go ahead, Joe.
I think Louisiana Tech's going to take the win. I like this team a lot, and I think this is going to be their big win of the year.
Marshall's going to get it done. Marshall's a really good football team this year. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen LA Tech play a lot. I only saw them get their butts handed to them by BYU. And Marshall's playing great football, so Marshall gets the win here.
I agree. I think it will be a good game, but I'm going to have to go with Marshall. I think they're getting disrespected right now. I think they should be a top 25 team, especially with some of the Pac-12 and Big Ten teams that haven't played, that are put in front of teams like Marshall who deserve a spot in the top 25 rankings. I think it's disrespectful, but I think that's why they'll go out and prove it this week. I think it will be a close game, but they're going to get the win over La Tech and take the lead in the conference.
So you say LA Tech?
No, Marshall.
Oh, Marshall. Okay. Well, I made a big error on this one, so I apologize to Liberty University. I actually put New York Liberty,
the WNBA
here.
Sabrina Ionescu.
I apologize. But I got them versus Syracuse.
I still
Syracuse.
take Liberty.
I got Syracuse in this
whichever
game.
Whichever one is playing Syracuse, I'll take Liberty in it.
Liberty plays good football. I like Liberty. Syracuse is struggling. I'll go with Liberty.
I will also go with Liberty. Syracuse defense, aside from their secondary, has been awful, and they probably have the worst offensive line in the country. So I think that Liberty will go out and get this win and stay undefeated.
I'm kind of glad that you guys all went for Liberty because I do good when I'm by myself on this. So I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. And now we're going to the spread real quick. We'll start off with Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson's favorite 27.
I don't think they're going to cover. I think it'll be like 21. It'll be an easy enough victory, but I don't think they're going to completely blow them out of the water. I don't think there's any need to.
Georgia Tech is garbage. Clemson is a national championship contender. Clemson covers with ease. 5 touchdown game.
I think Clemson will cover just barely. I think they'll probably win by 4 touchdowns. But yeah, I'll give the. I think that they'll probably be up by 35 or 42, and then maybe Georgia Tech scores a touchdown late. So I could see it. I don't know. I could see it by 28 or 35. I think they'll just get over though for the cover.
Since Trevor Lawrence has been on this team, they've been blowing out Georgia Tech. So I'm not gonna waste no time. I think they'll defeat them more than 35 points. So I got Clemson on this one. Louisville Cardinals at Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by -17. I got Notre Dame on this one, Joe. Do you agree or disagree?
If you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I have a much different feeling about Louisville these days. So I will say Notre Dame covers those 17.
Yeah, I agree with Joe. If you did ask me a couple weeks ago, I thought Louisville could hang with them. They can't. Notre Dame's starting to get into a rhythm and starting to get things looking even better than they did at the start of the season. Notre Dame covers fairly easily.
Agreed. Yeah, Notre Dame is dominant, and Louisville's starting to trend in the downwards direction. So I'll take Notre Dame to cover here.
All right, and we have North Carolina visiting Florida State. North Carolina favored by 13 points. And I took some time to think about this game, but I'm going to lean over with Florida State on this one. I think North Carolina will win. I just don't think that they will beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
I agree with that. I think Carolina wins the game. I think they win by 10.
Okay. North Carolina, they had Virginia Tech beat last week, and somehow Virginia Tech in the second half was able to claw their way back. I think they make up for that. Florida State is horrendous. I think this is a 3-touchdown game for North Carolina.
Yeah, Florida State actually put up somewhat of a decent fight, better than what I expected against Notre Dame. But I don't think that's going to continue. Like Jay said, North Carolina was up huge on Virginia Tech. Kind of let Virginia Tech in the game later on. I think they're going to want to keep their foot on the gas pedal the whole game against Florida State. I think they're going to win really big in this one. So I'll take UNC with the points.
All right, we got Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Ole Miss favored by 3 points. At the end of the game, after they lost to Alabama, Kiffin went to his team very hard on them. I know the fans were applauding Ole Miss because they were hanging in there, but Kiffin doesn't believe in that. He believes in hardcore discipline to where, hey, you still lost the game. You still got a lot to prove. And I think it's gonna carry over on this game. Ole Miss will defeat Arkansas, I think, by a couple of touchdowns. I think being -3 is not called for in this one.
Yeah, I think this is at least a 10, 12, 14-point win for Ole Miss. And I think Ole Miss is back despite the fact that Jace is a hater.
What? I've never said anything bad about Ole Miss.
You did
said
say
they weren't a
bad
good team.
about Kiffin.
What?
Dude, didn't he just say like 10 minutes ago that they weren't a good football team? Now they are. I mean,
I just said they weren't a top tier in the SEC. That's all I said.
Just looking for consistency.
I picked them to cover when they played Florida. I was the only one to do that.
So who you got? You got Ole Miss.
I got
over
Ole
Arkansas?
Miss. Yeah, Felipe Franks is not a good quarterback. Arkansas has been able to hang in there, but no, I think Ole Miss gets the W.
Yeah, this one's tough. Both these teams have been able to hang around in big games this year, so it's kind of it's tough to get a read on either team. But Ole Miss does have the explosive offense, so I'll take Ole Miss slightly. I think they'll win by maybe 4 or 5 points, but I think it will be a really tight game.
All right, Boston College at Virginia Tech. Surprisingly, Virginia Tech is favored 11.5 points. I believe, and sure it is, I'm backtracking my list here. I have Boston College in a close one, and they could potentially upset Virginia Tech.
No, Virginia Tech's got this. No sweat.
I like Boston College. I think it's going to be closer. I do think Virginia Tech wins, but I think Boston College will cover the 11.5 points.
I agree. Virginia Tech is the better team, but Boston College has really surprised so far this season. Their defense is playing really well. So I think Boston College will cover. I think Virginia Tech will maybe win by a field goal or 6 points. But, yeah, I got Boston College.
All right, Cincinnati visits Tulane. Cincinnati Bearcats favored by 3 points.
Ovi, you are struggling with the logos this week. They're playing Tulsa.
Now they're playing Tulane, right?
No, Tulane's playing.
SMU is playing.
Well, my bad, Tulane. Get out of here. Tulsa. Good Lord, what's wrong with me? I picked Tulsa. The hell with it. I'll represent Tulsa. Sorry, Tulsa. I'll put a bigger picture.
if it's Tulane, if it's Tulsa, if it's Tulsi Gabbard, Cincinnati wins this game.
Yeah, this is the spread itself has given a lot of respect to Tulsa. I think Tulsa is a decent football team. We saw them hang in there with Oklahoma State their first game, but Cincinnati, they're going to get it done. They're going to get it done over 3 points easily. I mean, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also surprised the spread is this close. I think Cincinnati will win pretty easily. Tulsa is a pretty good team, probably one of the better teams in the American, but Cincinnati is the class of that conference. They'll probably win by, I'd say, at least 2 touchdowns.
All right, now we're going to the over-under. We made our picks already to who's going to got which game. Like I said, this is the wild card of our picks, and we're going to start with Jace. Jace picked Army and UTSA. That's right, that is San Antonio. What you got, Jace?
Whenever Army's playing, that's an easy under. They're going to eat up the clock. They're going to play solid defense. UTSA is struggling with their QBs right now. I think Army wins the game pretty easily and keeps the score low.
All right, then we got Sean. He chose Pittsburgh and Miami.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to take the over with this one, especially with Miami's offense. And are we picking against the spread or just pick them?
No, you just got to pick them.
Just pick them? All right, yeah, so I'll take Miami and I'll take the over.
All right, and now we got Joe in the house. He chose Auburn and South Carolina.
I think this is going to be a nice high-scoring game. I've got this one going kind of like a 34-23, so I definitely think you want to take the over here.
And you're picking Auburn or South Carolina?
Come on. I mean, really? You had to ask that question? Also, I said Auburn like 34 to Carolina 23.
Are you serious? I just want to make sure because you were dogging Bo Nix and stuff, so maybe you don't remember what you were saying before.
I like Bo Nix. He's just not anywhere near in the league of Mac Jones. Nobody is.
So you believe that he's not close to Mac Jones.
Not even Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence isn't in the league of Mac Jones?
All right.
Well, he's got all those weapons around him.
So by default, I was last. So Navy and East Carolina, I got that game. I picked Navy, and I'm going over with the points. So there you have it right there. And we got one more game. And before I do show you, of course, it is Georgia and Alabama. But before we make their picks, I want you guys to check out this clip real quick to see if you can decide who's going to win this Saturday.
Play action, McCarron. Deep left side, got a man open. Got the touchdown, Amari Cooper.
The clock has started.
12 seconds to go. Murray got it, but the clock is running.
That's the one thing he didn't want to do.
Game over. Tagovailoa trying to make up for it. Fire to the end zone. Touchdown! Alabama wins! Just inside the 16, quarterback draw, Jalen Hurts! Touchdown!
Defender, the middle linebacker.
And the last play of the game. Fromm's in trouble. Can he even get a pass away? Loads. Goes to the end zone. Jump ball. Incomplete. And Alabama has won it.
And that's right. The last 3 games of SEC and Alabama and Georgia. I mean, quite of a finish. I expect it to be the same, but the results the other way around. I picked Georgia to defeat Alabama by a touchdown in Alabama. And to back everything up, the last 2 times Georgia traveled to Alabama, they won those games. So I'm going to see it. I'm predicting 3 in a row for Georgia. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, I just don't see it happening that way. And I appreciate why you would think that. I know how you feel about the Bulldogs, and their defense is pretty outstanding. And I definitely think that their defense has the advantage in this game, Ovi. Make no mistake about it. But as Jace pointed out about 455 times in this episode, there's too many weapons in Alabama. They're going to find a way to score more points than Georgia, no matter whether this ends up being a lower scoring game because it's more of a defensive battle, whether there's turnovers unexpectedly or whatever the case may be. I just think Alabama's a really, really, really good football team. I think Georgia's a worthy adversary, but I think when you look at what Mac Jones brings to the table as a leader, and again, with Najee Harris, come on. There's just too many weapons. Alabama should be an NFL team.
Alabama should be an NFL team. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna get off this this argument we've been having this show, Joe. If you look at last year, how many weapons Joe Burrow had, and now he's in the Bengals and he's struggling because he has no weapons. What does that say about him being as good as a quarterback?
Nothing.
So
Nothing.
doesn't.
You're grasping at straws.
I'm not. You put Mac Jones in the same situation, he's not going to do that good because he's not the best quarterback in the SEC. But,
you ever been in the locker room or the quarterback room with Mac Jones? You don't know anything about Mac Jones. I don't know why you're so judgy.
I'm surprised to hear that.
He's not good as all you guys are saying. Like, I don't think he's that good. I'm not.
He's not that good, but every game he starts off 12 to 14 passes without a miss. His accuracy is on point. Whether the receivers are in coverage or they're open, he's able to give these guys the ball. That's him throwing the ball. Okay. Come on, bro.
All right. But now he's got a test. He's got to face an actual tough test, a hard, tough test in a ranked opponent this week. And he does not get it done because he folds under pressure like he has done in the past.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, yes.
Better team. Georgia's offense clicks. They find the big plays. They've
clicks?
Destroyed.
You think an offense that clicks is gonna? Oh, all right.
Yeah,
wow.
let me finish. They've destroyed both ranked opponents they faced, and now
not anywhere near as good as Alabama. And that
might not be, and their defense is also stellar. Alabama's defense has not shown that they are what they have been in the past. Georgia gets this done very convincingly. Very convincingly. Georgia wins this football game.
What's the score?
Not a big score, guy. 35.
I know, because
21.
you have to, when you say like something like that's going to happen, you then have to explain the rationale behind it. Like, so what are Mac Jones's? Mac Jones has a horrible game. He throws 4 picks. Najee Harris runs for 46 yards on 22 carries. Tell me how magically Georgia beats this amazing Alabama team. Tell me.
The defense smothers them. I think Mac Jones is going to get he's going to face pressure for the first time this year, and he's not going to handle it well. He's going to he's going to make bad passes, might throw some interceptions. He's going to probably fumble too.
He's going to have to throw a couple picks if he loses, so he throws a couple picks. I like this. And
I don't think Najee Harris is going to be able to run against that defense, and I think Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, they're going to both of them. I don't think both of them can get open on the same play on any given play. I think maybe one can beat one of the Georgia corners, but the Georgia corners are so good. I think they can shut both of them down. And I think defense wins this game. And now, while Alabama might have one of the best corners in Patrick Surtain II, I just don't think that defense is comparable to Georgia's defense. Georgia's defense has dominated.
Well, let me give you some stats real quick before I turn it over to Sean. Nick Saban has been 21-0 versus all his assistants that he has faced. And Smart is one of his assistants. And he's been dominant. He's been managing the game well. I'm sure that Alabama will be prepared to go against my Georgia. I'm not doubting anything with the Alabama offense. I still think that they're going to still put up the numbers. But at the end of the game, whoever has the better defense, and I'm going to say it's Georgia, that's why I keep saying that they're going to win by a touchdown. And I do expect that Mac Jones at least throws the ball at least 300 yards. He'll still be consistent. You know, they're going to protect him. Yes, he might get a couple of sacks here and there, but this rivalry is totally different, man. And if you've seen the last couple of games, it don't matter who it is. You know, we go back in history from when they first started. You know, they play each other hard. It's tough. This is not a blowout. It's going to be all the way to the fourth quarter. Whoever has the last possession is going to determine whether they win or lose. Do you agree, Sean?
Yeah, I think it's going to be another classic Georgia-Alabama game, obviously. And I do agree the Georgia defense is obviously better than Alabama's, but I think the discrepancy between the two offenses is just on another level. Stetson Bennett, he's pretty good as like a game manager type. Zamir White, obviously the running game, they love to run the ball. And Pickens and what's the other receiver's name? I forgot. But anyways, they have two receivers that can win on the outside. But I just don't think Alabama's on a different level. At least offensively, I think it will be a slow game to start the first half. I think it will be low scoring in the first half. I think both offenses will start to get it going in the second half. I think we'll see more of a shootout in the second half. But I got Alabama winning this game. I do have a lot of respect for Georgia's defense. They've been tremendous so far. But I just think that Alabama has too much talent. I think that they'll win narrowly. It will be a really close game. I'd probably give them the win by a field goal and say the score will be, I'll say 30 or 34-31. Alabama wins.
Well, I'm going to tell you what right now. One, thank you guys for giving out your picks. That completes the picks here. One other note, the game is going into halftime. Coastal Carolina and Louisiana tied 13-13. Both these teams are undefeated 3-0. Both these teams are in the Sun Belt Conference. It's one hell of a game. So as soon as I'm finished here, I'm going to check out that game and then update you guys on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube on this game. So Sean and Big J, thank you for being here. Stand by real quick. Joe, this pretty much wraps up the show. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank goodness that LSU versus Florida is canceled. Mentioned this earlier, head coach Dan Mullen actually wanted 90,000 people in attendance for their game against LSU. Now, the Florida coach stunned some people with his comments on Saturday night that he felt the fact that Ben Hill Griffin Stadium was sold out was part of the reason why his team lost. And he suggested that they fill up the stadium despite this ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which is raging all around the country, particularly in the South. So after the A&M upset, he said it was the fans at College Station that made all the difference, and that's when he expressed his desire to fill up Ben Griffin Stadium, as opposed to coming up with defensive stops, because that's how you win football games. Now, on Monday, Mullen was given the chance to clarify his comments, and instead, he did what is all too often the problem in this country. He doubled down and insisted he's only focused on the game itself. He hasn't talked to his bosses or anyone else about his idiotic comments. Now, I know the coach cares about his team, and he wants to give him every advantage to win. But fans in the seats have nothing to do with X's and O's. And it shows a complete disregard for your players, your students, and the fans. 2020 is tough for everybody. And we're all adjusting to this new world. Stop making excuses. Everyone's dealing with the same problem right now. If you can't win on your own, you're not going to win. But jeopardizing anyone's life to what? Make yourself feel better? No, seriously, draw up a better defensive plan. We have unrealistic expectations for these kids and these people sometimes. And to hear a head coach say something so stupid, which goes against Florida law, by the way, makes no sense at this point. And that's all I really had to say on that topic. Thank you to everybody for another great show. Make sure you check out hhw.com to get all the latest on all the great CMG sports. You can also visit clovercrestmedia.com. And we hope that you will. If you're interested in starting your own podcast, or if you want to check out 32 amazing podcasts, again, clovercrestmedia.com. You too could be part of the CMG podcasts. For Obi Munez, Sean Scanlon, and Jace Garcia, I'm Joe Aguirre. Thank you so much for checking out All Four Downs.